I'm Eric Gao, and here's what happened this week. Taiwan is famous for making the hardware used in cutting-edge computing. But at a blockchain summit in Taipei, its former digital minister is hoping that the country will also soon be known for using technology to improve democracy. Chris Gordon reports.
The Asia Blockchain Summit is back in Taipei. It's the first time it's been held in person in 5 years, and it's bringing together big names from across the blockchain industry, the technology behind cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Now we're here on the third day of the summit, which is focused on the concept of plurality, which aims to use technologies like blockchain to improve democracy. While the two might not seem related, blockchain's traceable digital fingerprint is well suited to democratic principles like consensus and accountability. The idea has been spearheaded by Taiwan's former digital minister Audrey Tang and Microsoft researcher Glenn Weil, who participated in a panel with founder of blockchain platform Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, and actor-entrepreneur Joseph GordonLevitt. They say plurality aims to use technology to make democracy more inclusive and better reflect people's real preferences. As an example, Audrey Tang pointed to a platform started by Taiwanese hacking group GovZero, where young people were able to get their issues on the legislative agenda.
There was a couple years ago a petition by mostly high school students that says science shows that if you sleep for 1 more hour instead of study for 1 more hour, it actually gets your score better. So they petitioned to, instead of going to school on 7:30 or something, they want to go to school like 8:45 or something, right? So
you just got every high schooler's attention just now.
Yeah, I mean, it is backed by science, you know. And so after deliberation, actually, they succeeded, right?
Supporters of plurality say that by using these concepts, Taiwan can become a place not where technology is just made, but where it is used for good. Luffy Lee and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
And as you just saw, U.S. actor and founder of media platform Hit Record, Joseph GordonLevitt, he was part of the Plurality Summit. Chris sat down for an exclusive interview with him to talk about his trip to Taiwan and his views on technology and democracy.
So I understand this is your first time in Taiwan. What brings you here this time?
My first time ever in Taiwan. I'm so happy to be here. I was invited here by Audrey Tang, whose book Plurality has just come out. It's one of my favorites that I've read in a long time. It makes me optimistic about the future of technology and democracy in ways that I haven't felt in years, to be honest. And when she invited me, I jumped at the chance.
Yeah, well, you shared the stage with her at the Plurality Summit. Tell us some takeaways from the summit that you found.
Speaking as an American, in my country, people's faith in democracy is at a low point, sadly enough. People don't believe as much in the institutions of democracy and the idea that the people can really be a part of governing themselves. It's the whole idea of the United States of America. And here in Taiwan, we're seeing an example of people genuinely, legitimately having a say in what their government does. The systems that Audrey has designed and implemented here in Taiwan, I think, have allowed people here to come together over their differences, have productive discussions, find consensus, and have those ideas ultimately make their way into government and policy. It's incredible to see. It's really uplifting for me.
Was there any of the particular, platforms or steps that Audrey had proposed that you'd like to see implemented back in the States?
Yeah, well, for example, social media that's coming out of Silicon Valley in the United States, it really amplifies differences. It amplifies people hating each other, arguing with each other. Why? Because arguing and that kind of thing tends to make more money for their advertising models. But the sort of equivalent social media systems that Audrey's put in place here in Taiwan actually amplify consensus. You get more attention on the feed. Your post is more likely to rise to the top on the social network if you're helping build bridges, not if you're helping tear the other one down. And that kind of simple change can really make a big difference. And when I first heard Audrey describing it, I found it so remarkable that I wanted to learn more.
So your company, Hit Record, actually produced a pretty popular video here in Taiwan called Lost in Taiwan in 2020. And that was a collaboration of 150 different artists. Tell us, what does the process for a collaborative film like that look like?
Well, that short film, Lost in Taiwan, it's funny, people have asked me here, so welcome back to Taiwan because you shot that short film in Taiwan. And in fact, this is my first time here in Taiwan. And we did produce that short film, but I wasn't here shooting it. It was made in a different way on this online platform where people were coming together on our website, and different people wrote different lines about their experience of Taiwan. I think a lot of those writers were people from here who lived here. And then different actors would perform those lines, and different people would shoot video around the country and contribute all of those things together. And eventually they all got edited together into the montage short film.
Yeah, and the business model actually includes a way to kind of pay all of these people in a fair way. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's one of the things that bothers me most about some of the bigger internet platforms is we all contribute our data, we contribute our content to these platforms, and Facebook, etc. They make lots of money by putting ads on our content that we created, but they don't compensate generally.
And you came out with this op-ed last year in the Washington Post saying that there needs to be more of a legal and technical way for people to get paid for their contributions to these generative AI models. Mm-hmm. Now we're a year past that op-ed. Do you think we've gotten any closer to that kind of model?
I think we have gotten closer, but we're certainly not there yet. I think we've gotten closer in that people are starting to take notice. People are starting to pay attention and ask questions. How are these AI models built? Oh, everybody's data is going into these models? Well, did they get everybody's permission for that? And if they're making a bunch of money from these models, are they going to pay the people whose data was used to build the models? These questions, I think, are starting to be asked, and asking the question is the first step to getting the answer.
Do you have any other plans to make films in Taiwan?
I would love to, yeah. Well, it's been really inspiring being here, talking to Audrey and the enormous, lovely community that she's introduced me to, the GovZero community and the V-Taiwan community. And I do think it would be really inspiring to make a film about some of these ideas and these communities.
That was actor Joseph GordonLevitt in Taiwan for the Asia Blockchain Summit. Police have arrested 27 scammers who stole millions from investors. It's part of a wave of high-profile scams in the country that has put authorities on high alert. John Van Trieste has more.
After more than a year of stealing money from investors, it's game over for yet another fraud ring. This time, 27 are arrested. It was a sophisticated operation. They posed as representatives of Japan's Nomura Securities and tricked potential investors into joining a chat group on popular messaging app Line. There, they'd be instructed to download a convincing but bogus app and place orders. From May to November last year, the group is said to have tricked 38 people out of around $12 million US. The scammers took pains to create an air of legitimacy. As an anti-fraud organization explains, the chat group was filled with fake people, encouraging victims not to hold back with their money.
当然，那个群组当中的话，它就会出现很多人，就是会实际上都是诈骗假扮的人，就会说啊，这里面大家跟老师赚多少钱，什么东西去诱拐、去加入这样。
And as the police explain, there were a lot of legitimate-looking companies with accounts, easing any suspicions.
该诈骗集团会确保稳定的人头账户来源，透过假应征工作或要求成员担任人头公司的负责人，开设人头账户及协助经营账款，并施予软性的监控，以防成员脱逃。
Scams of all kinds have flourished in Taiwan in recent years. From January to May alone, over 6,000 similar fraud cases were reported to police. For companies like Nomura's joint venture in Taiwan, it's a matter of warning customers to be on the alert, because despite successful police work, schemes like this one continue to pop up. Justin Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
It's never been easy for Chinese-Taiwanese couples to register to marry due to strict regulations on Chinese nationals entering Taiwan. But for same-sex cross-strait partners, it's an impossibility. Reese Ayers met one couple who have been forced to take their relationship to the courts.
A love that persists in the face of adversity. As gay men, Jim and Alvin already face struggles straight couples don't. Neither of them has come out to their families about their sexuality for fear of rejection. And now, as they seek to take their relationship to the next stage, a major legal roadblock. Alvin is from Taiwan, but Jim is from China. And unlike heterosexual couples, cross-strait gay couples are denied the right to marry.
如果我跟他今天不结婚的话，对于我来讲，我没有任何的选择，什么在台湾找工作不可能。然后那我念完博士班了，我也不可能在台湾继续升学。所以从法律上来讲，我没有任何的途径可以继续待在台湾。
That's because it's nearly impossible for Chinese people to get work visas in Taiwan. Instead, Jim has been studying here since 2014. And after meeting Alvin in 2019, the same year Taiwan legalized same-sex marriage, his life gained new purpose.
我自己心里面觉得啦，我在这个世界上应该不太会遇到第二个人，让我觉得就是完全合得来。
But now, as graduation day approaches, the couple are being forced to consider other options.
如果到最后他已经准备要毕业了，我们还不能结婚的时候，对，我们可能就我们有讨论过是不是选择到国外去。
It's not an ideal solution for two people who love living in Taiwan, a relative safe haven for the LGBTQ+ community.
我们两个如果想，我们可以走着走着马上就手牵手，那个都 OK， 那个没问题。我们可以穿一看就是情侣的衣服在大街上。可是如果今天我们去到别的国家，别的可能不太那么性别友善的国家一起生活，那些事情我们其实都没有办法做。
要求平等结婚，要求平等结婚，拒绝。
But there's hope yet for Alvin and Jim. With help from the Taiwan Alliance to Promote Civil Partnership Rights, or TAPCPR, who are campaigning for full equality for queer people, they're taking their case to the courts. One major barrier for cross-strait same-sex couples is that they're denied the right to interview, a core step in the marriage registration process.
所以，只要我们的国家愿意开出一个新的面谈的程序，就是专门是给同性伴侣的，那么我们所有的同性伴侣其实就只要按照国家的这个要求来审查你们是真实的伴侣，以及你们的国安是没有疑虑的，那么就跟异性恋是一样的，他们就可以来台结婚。
After submitting their case to the courts in early August, Jim and Alvin are feeling confident.
然后我们是相信法官是会按照法律去考量我们的这个案子，然后并且也是会站在尊重与保障人权的这个立场，然后去审我们的这个案子。所以目前看起来是还蛮有信心的。
If successful, Jim and Alvin will become the first Chinese-Taiwanese gay couple to marry in Taiwan. But their case is just the tip of the iceberg. There are hundreds of same-sex cross-strait couples looking for help from the TAPCPR.
因为我们群组里有一个可能快是阿嬷级别的人，他跟他的另一半，他每次都会在群组里面哭说，他们还有几年可以活，为什么不让他们在一起？然后他们也是一个在台湾，一个在中国的某个地方。
Unless amendments are made, every such couple will have to sue the state to get married.
So actually, the situation is quite ridiculous. So it's totally administrative barrier, and I think this is kind of a problem of political will.
For now, Jim and Alvin can only wait patiently for the courts to decide their fate, as the fight for full equality continues, even here in Taiwan, a country considered one of the most socially progressive in the world. Justin Wu and Reese Ayres in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Thanks for joining us for Here's What Happened. If you want to see more of our reports, visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow us on social media. Finally, here's Taiwanese drag star Nymphia Wind performing at the Cultural Olympiad in Paris. I'm Eric Gao, and we'll see you next week.
For more stories from Taiwan and the Paris Olympics, download the TaiwanPlus app.